We are the world's largest democracy. On that, there is no doubt. We are the world's oldest democracy. On that also, there is no doubt. For Mr. Gandhi to go to the United Kingdom and say, in India, Indian democracy is facing an attack on the basic structure. And I was born in this country 5 years after partition. This country has given me everything that any member of a minority community could. This BRI process here goes through the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which is CPEC, which is Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Does he realize his own grandmother invoked 356, I think at least 50 times? No, he goes and has a press, मैंने ये नहीं कहा था, मैंने वो नहीं कहा था, इसकी अरे भाई say, मेरे से गलती हो गई, I apologize. The full import of those statements has not really been understood. One of the statements he's made is that we are facing, and I'm quoting, quote, we are facing an attack on the basic structure of Indian democracy. In the Constitution, India is defined as a union of states, and that union requires a negotiation. And then he goes on to compare the Indian Union with the European Union. Now, if any individual, a private citizen, goes outside the country or inside the country, he has a freedom to speak. But along with that freedom to speech comes what I call the need to have a sense of responsibility. Now, if you don't understand how the European Union came into being, and I don't want to take your time to highlight how the Treaty of Rome started with 6 countries and others, how the first union was European Coal Community, European Coal and Steel Community. These are sovereign countries which have joined in order to produce, at the end of the day, some kind of a customs union, a tariff union, and where they've even decided to have a common foreign and security policy. These are independent states. To compare that to the Indian states, look, we are the world's largest democracy. On that, there is no doubt. We are the world's oldest democracy. On that also, there is no doubt. But for Mr. Gandhi to go to the United Kingdom and say, in India, Indian democracy is facing an attack on the basic structure. What is the basic structure of a democracy? Number one, freedom of speech, civil liberties, a free press, an independent judiciary. Which of these constituent components which make up Indian democracy is saying that they are under attack? The free press, I mean, I am a very proud member of the Indian legislature. I see the press having a field day, criticizing the government through print media, through electronic media, through social media. And I think the relationship between the media and the political system, many members of the media ecosystem take great delight in taking credits, taking advertisements from parties which are in opposition to the party, and they give them free play. I have never seen any constraints being placed on anyone. And then he goes on to say, a judiciary. I just saw a participation by very eminent members of the judiciary, including those occupying the highest positions in the judicial system. They say we are under no pressure. In any case, even if they were to say that there is a healthy interactive process going on between the judiciary and the government, there are certain things the government feels, and I believe rightly so, that in a separation between the executive, the legislature and the judiciary, I mean, the executive has a role to play. Now, if the judiciary encroaches on that, it's our right to say that. But are they under any pressure? On the contrary. We have the judiciary pronouncing on how state systems are to be run. So, I think anyone who suggests, even as a private citizen, that Indian democracy is under threat, I think requires serious introspection. But when somebody who is associated, is regarded as the leader of the main opposition party. I mean, they don't have the 10% to be, he can't be called leader of opposition, but still, it is the largest party. I mean, if you look at sheer numbers, to go around and say that Indian democracy is under brutal attack, what is the objective? He's saying, all of you, the ones I am speaking to, the audience I'm reaching out to, which is what? United Kingdom, United States. And he doesn't realize there are enough mavericks there who on their own will make statements without understanding what India is. He turns around and says, "Aap kuch kariye." What is he asking for? He's asking for the democratic processes in the United Kingdom to effect change in the Indian Union. Is that what he's doing? It amounts to almost that. Then, a Sikh gentleman gets up there from the audience, or rather he's there and he says, in Sikhs, minorities are second-class citizens in India. I don't know where he got that from. I mean, I was born in this country 5 years after partition. This country has given me everything that any member of a minority community could. All right, let's leave the Sikhs aside for a moment. He's talking about Sikhs, Christian. Abhi हाल में North East में चुनाव हुए हैं. Many of them have large segments of Christian population. So I don't know what it is about Mr. Gandhi's understanding. It's not just a flawed understanding. Is he playing to an agenda? But he should come clean. And to begin with, I think you need closure. And the closure will only come if he apologizes. And he should apologize categorically, unequivocally. An apology doesn't come in the form of, "Oh, मैंने ये नहीं कहा, मेरी आपने ये समझ लिया, मैं कह कुछ और रहा था," etc., etc. Let me also... He made another comment, which I think it was during an interactive process. Somewhere he said that at the core of the BJP ideology is cowardice. I don't know what he was implying to say, or what he was trying to say. I mean, we have a situation on our hands where India today has moved from 2014, when we were the 9th largest economy, to being the 5th largest economy now. And we've enjoyed it because we replaced a country which was 190 years, subjecting us to colonial dominance. We are going to very soon to be the 4th largest economy. We have a country in which if you saw the Honorable Prime Minister's reeling off some basic statistics at the India Today conclave, what did you see? India is a success story in every form. Some time ago, somebody produced some report here and there and said, do this. And, the talk of regulatory oversight. Where are banks failing? I'm not going into that sector. But if you cannot draw pride and a sense of satisfaction from the successes of our people, look at what he says about China. I mean, I am very clear that he's entitled to his view. But one of the things which he is fascinated by is the BRI, the Belt Road Initiative of China. And he hails that as a visionary, step. Does he realize that this BRI process here goes through the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which is CPEC, which is Pakistan-occupied Kashmir? Does he realize that? That is Indian. I mean, if he aspires to leadership in India, he should at least know what is Indian territory. Several other things said. But what gets which I am completely surprised about, is his fixation on there being no democracy in India. Look, I am 71 years old. There has been only one occasion in our history when civil liberties and freedom of speech were completely eliminated. And that was in June 1975. After that, I don't think we have gone down that road. What is democracy? Whether you're a union or states, I want to use his words and the Constitution's word, it's a relationship between the center and the states. On how many occasions did a Congress government at the center invoke Article 356 in order to suspend and dismiss legitimately elected state governments? Most of you are aware of the figure. I think should be close to 1,000 times. His own grandmother invoked 356, I think at least 50 times. This gentleman took an oath as a member of parliament, and that oath has some very clear language in it. Very clear language in it. I find his personal attacks require at least two comments. One, what has his party been associated with? I cited to you 1975, the imposition of the emergency, but there's another one I want to cite to you, where in the year 2009, Section 66A was inserted in the Indian Information Technology Act by the Manmohan Singh government, threatening citizens with punishment for sending messages and mails. 1975 की बात कर रहा हूं और उसके बाद 2009 तक मैं लाया हूं आपको. और जब इन्होंने सेक्शन 66A इंसर्ट करने की कोशिश की, this was struck down by the Supreme Court in 2015 in the famous Shreya Singhal case. So here you're talking about democracy being in threat when your own family history, what you have done in the Congress party in terms of suspending civil liberties, curtailing freedom of speech in 1975. Now I could go on and on, etc. Baki, you take the other examples. A journalist from a prominent channel is bullied into submission when his party was in power in Maharashtra. I have so many other examples, but I'm going to stop here because mujhe lagta hai we have a time this thing, and you have many other stories to comment. Also, if you have any questions, I'm always happy.
Will Parliament functions, or will you again press for
This is absolutely a call that he has to make. He should apologize unambiguously, because you know he goes and has a press, मैंने ये नहीं कहा था, मैंने वो नहीं कहा था, इसकी अरे भाई say मेरे से गलती हो गई, I apologize. I think from my understanding is that will pave the way and facilitate a functioning of parliament.